I'm Legend, I play this game professionally, so I can probably hit rank 1. Alright, so this game we are against a mage, something that is pretty good for us. We want to keep the Embrace of Nature because we want to try to draw the drum circle with the forged ability so both of its effects go off, and Innervate allows us to cheat it out one turn early. The reason why mage is actually a pretty good matchup for us is because even though they have solid alibi, which means we basically can't kill them for 1, 2, sometimes 3 turns, they have no way of actually killing our board. So if they ever don't have solid alibi on just 1 turn, we win the game. Yeah, not really much to do. Turn 2, we forged, obviously, and going into this next turn, we're gonna see what we get. We get Lifebender's Gift, and so we innervate out the Elune. The reason we're innervating out Elune is because we want to have more cards in our hand to reduce the cost of when we play the Lifebender's Gift. But I feel like it might be a little bit greedy at this point to do that because of how many things they have on the board, and I really don't want them to gain too much armor. So I end up playing one of the spells first, and I get Flash of Lightning and Bioluminescence. Now, this is an insane combo, because not only do we actually have damage spells in our deck with natural causes and ways of getting a lot of cheap minions, but now we can reduce the cost of our cards with Flash of Lightning and give them spell. We have become OTK Shaman out of nowhere. Now here we can do a couple of things. We can take Living Roots to get some minions on the board and do some extra damage with Bioluminescence, Rake to kill off a couple of minions, which might be relevant, or Soul the Forest. I take the 1 mana nature spell because I think killing off the 2/2 is good, and then we play the Flash of Lightning. We could have played Rake. I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. We'll take the Solar Eclipse here, I believe, so we're able to do more damage later on. Or do we go Witchwood Apple? Oh, we go Witchwood Apple to play a couple of minions, actually, which makes sense because it allows us to fight the Volatile Skeleton a little bit more. But yeah, overall, we have a game plan in our head. Bioluminescence as a potential surprise win condition. Maybe they freeze our board, or they're able to kill a couple of minions, and we can still burst them from hand, possibly. But yeah, the 1 mana nature spell, I probably could have summoned 2 1/1s or saved it for later for like a Bioluminescence, but I got scared and killed the Volatile Skeleton because, to be quite honest, we're getting kind of wrecked. But boom, look at this. For reduced cost, we are able to get this massive board on turn 6 because we are already able to reduce the cost of Solar Eclipse and Drum Circle with the Lifebender's Gift before. Obviously, they have a solid alibi. I would have been more surprised if they didn't have a solid alibi the turn I made this big play. I'm not really that upset about it. You see me laughing a little bit. I'm like, of course they have solid alibi. We just need to hope that they don't get, you know, 2, 3, or 4, or even more solid alibis. Then it starts becoming a bit of a problem. So at this point, I really don't think there's much to do. I end up playing Cultivation because the way they were trading in made me realize they're probably going to remove my board in some way. They probably have the mech to do a decent amount of damage to everything, so I need to play around that. And they did have the mech. They did do a decent amount of damage to everything, and maybe if they had a little bit more mana, they could have wiped my board here. We end up trading in one of our 3/4s, or one of our minions into the 3/4 and going face with the rest because why the heck not? There's not really much else that we need to do. I mean, it's not like hitting the face does damage anyway, and we have so many minions on board that it doesn't really affect me. We end up playing the Summer, so that way we are able to generate a couple more cards, draw a couple more cards is really, really nice. And boom, those huge animations, all for 1 damage. God, I hate Solid Alibi. Put a comment down below if you also hate Solid Alibi, it's ridiculous. Then they play the mech, I'm like, okay, they can't really do anything. And then I'm like, oh no. Fucking Defile. Randomly generate, I mean, I can't even be mad. I even said this during the stream. I can't even be mad about that play. It was genuinely just a good play. It was just a good play. I can't hate on that. So at this point, I play the Treant because I want to have as many minions on the board as I can when I end up wanting to play the Drum Circle. And then they play Elemental Inspiration. And I'm realizing, okay, things might be a bit problematic here. Now I spent a long time thinking, do I have lethal here? And I still don't know. If you find lethal in the chat, let me know. I got, I think, 1 damage or 3 damage away from lethal by playing 2 saplings for 1 mana, or playing Bioluminescence and then double activating Natural Selection. and then hero powering and hitting him in the face. I was just barely off, and because I was just barely off, I realized I probably need to just play Drum Circle here, pump up all of my minions and hit him in the face, and then maybe, like, in a turn or two, we can do Bioluminescence and Natural Causes. But yeah, I think I was 3 damage off. I started running out of time. If you guys find lethal, let me know. I'd be happy to take a look at it again. And yeah, at this point, I feel pretty good. As long as they don't have another solid alibi, we're fine. Now, this is 7 lifesteal, which is not good. It does mean that the Natural Causes Bioluminescence play is probably not going to be super consistent. And they generated another spell. For 6 mana, the way they're trading made me think for a second maybe it was Light Bomb. But then I realized they weren't really doing anything. They play the Abyssal Wave. 3 minions live, and we have more than enough damage. It was pretty stressful, but we got the win. So, we are once again against a mage, and our opening hand is fantastic. Natural Causes, Witchwood Apple, very good. We also have the upgrade card, so we're very happy. We're able to play 2/2/2 Treants on turn 2. Turn 3, we can play Embrace of Nature in order to get a, hopefully, Drum Circle, but maybe Lifebender's Gift, so we can just get both of their abilities right away. Or, if necessary, we can play Natural Causes, and that is actually the direction I lean this turn. I want to kill off the 3/4. And because I have the Disciple of, what's-his-face? The Disciple of, I mispronounced the name, Eonar? I don't know. Because we have that in our hand, I feel relatively okay playing it without it being forged, just to thin out the deck a little bit. We end up trading into the 4/4, that way we take limited damage, and going into turn 5, we have the Summer Flower Child, which is fantastic. This actually means that we will have the Drum Circle, hopefully, on turn 6. We don't draw the Drum Circle. You see me kind of like pause there for a second, and I'm just thinking, my god, dude, I cannot believe how badly I messed up. And then they play Ancient Knowledge, which means I can't really play cards this turn. And luckily, that gives me Finale on the second Summer Flower Child. We are going to overdraw here, but that is okay. Why is that okay? Because we already have the cards that we need. We already have a Drum Circle. We already have the Lifebender's Gift. We already have Topier for the late game. We just gotta hope to not lose. They do damage to me, and at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm thinking I might as well just concede. But I think, no, I can do this. Let's see what Planted Evidence gives me. Boom, it gives me Beetlemancy, 12 armor, that's massive. So what I decided to do, instead of activating both of its choose one effects, is I coin, double activate Lifebender's Gift, hoping for more armor and removal. I play that to gain 12 armor, and all of a sudden I realize I'm 100% in this game. Cultivation is also free at this point, which means I can pump up my minions and trade into the 3/8. I get a huge board going, I pump up my minions a ton, I hit their 3/6, their Titan, so they can't get secrets, and I'm thinking, did they misplay? If they had just summoned secrets, could they not have just killed me with 20 damage the following turn? I mean, yeah, they could have. This was a huge misplay, and it puts me back in the game 100%. I will kind of throw the ball back to them and throw on my own. That star power was awful, by the way. I mean, all of my minions had a ton of HP, so I guess it didn't really matter. But it didn't spread the damage out very well, so if they have the mech, we're fine. But anyway, at this point, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have a chance at winning the game. And at this point, I'm thinking, you know what? I've got to have lethal here. I do the math, and I'm 1 off lethal. Fuck! It's okay. The almost lethal is Solar Eclipse, Drum Circle to get both things. But here was my little misplay. I didn't end up also pumping up the 3/3. It's not a huge deal, but I end up leaving a 5/5 on the board, and my 3/1 is able to be killed really easily now with a ping. The only plus side is that since it's not pumped up, if they played Reverberations on it because it had Rush, it wouldn't have really done anything. But right there, boom, that is the big misplay, or reason why it was a misplay. Unleash Fel kills my 3/1, but luckily I still have lethal. So, we are once again against a mage. We are going to keep the Embrace of Nature because we like drawing our choose one cards, and we also keep the Widowbloom Seedsman because of how good it is on turn 4 ramping up. Witchwood Apple is good, but since we want to play the 3 1-mana cards on turn 3, I think it's more valuable to play it this way. I could have played the Witchwood Apple, there's an argument for it, but I don't think that it was correct. And we have 2 Widowbloom Seedsmen in our hand with a Drum Circle. Okay, we are going to be playing this Drum Circle, hopefully with a Solar Eclipse, by turn like 6. I don't know, math is hard. And then next turn, oh my god, this is perfect. Okay, we can also reduce the cost of Drum Circle with our Life Binder's gift. This is and we draw the Solar Eclipse. Oh my gosh, I realize I need to draw my nature spell first. It's not a big deal, but it is still relevant. And I don't play the Witchwood Apples because 2 reasons. 1, nature spell could synergize with Topiary later on if I need to. And 2, I don't really want to give away more hand information than I have to. If I give away 2 of my cards are pretty much useless, they might play differently. So we're going into this next turn, I'm thinking, my god, there is no way we lose. But then they give all of their minions Soul of the Forest. And yes, I'm gonna generate an absolutely bonkers board. But they actually have a very sticky board themselves. And if they have sort of like pump spells or randomly generate things, it could be really, really big. I end up playing both of the Witchwood Apples this turn. It was a mistake. I just kind of got impatient and played them. If you're in my shoes, definitely don't play those cards. And they have a solid alibi and 50 HP. So we're definitely not close to killing them at this point. And also because they have so many minions on board, makes me a little bit worried because I'm like, okay, I have to figure out a way to kill them. We end up taking Soul of the Forest here, making our board pretty much unkillable. So even if they wipe our board once, we should be fine. But yeah, I end up trading into the minions here because what? Hitting them in the face is going to do absolutely nothing. There's no point. I miss out on like 5 damage, but this way I get to kill off pretty much all of their minions. I think it's way better. But yeah, we're in a good spot. The Soul of the Forest stressed me out when it was initially played, but after this massive board, I realized it might not be that big of a problem. Now, we are off lethal, and they did just draw a bunch of cards. So Aquatic Form has to give me damage here or things could get really scary. We get Cultivation, which is fantastic, and it's lethal. The reason why it's scary, though, is because around turn 8, Sif with enough spell schools could actually do 18 damage to me. It's not out of the question, so I felt a little bit scared. So in the end, we climbed from 500 legend, I took a couple days off, don't judge me, to 265 legend. Overall, this deck was way better than I thought it was going to be, and it was really good on a budget. Kiri is in the core set, and the only other legendary that is in this deck is Topiary, and you don't even need him. He makes some control value matchups like Control Warrior and Control Priest a little bit easier because you have this endless minion pool of like a ton of 3/3s, but he's not needed. You could probably run just a Lunar Eclipse to help your early game matchups against aggro, and you'll be just fine.